Welcome, everybody. My name is Sharifat. So, with me today, I have a very special guest. His name is Hans Philip. I met him a couple of years ago. I can't really remember when. So, he was invited to Madam Queenie's show. So, I think after the conversation, I sent him a message. Not, I think, I did send him a message, and ever since then, we've been talking. So I'm just so excited to, have him here and just talk about like a lot of things. So Hans Philip is a coach. He has been coaching since 30 years. Like he has coached a lot of people and has helped them achieve transformation
Yeah.
in their works and in their lives. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk to you today.
I'm excited to talk to you too.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I would love for you to like. There is actually a lot of things that I want to talk about, but the first thing that came to my mind was that before you came to like we started this, I was kind of like scared of. I'm not sure if I can do this. There is just like this not enoughness that I had inside of me, and I know that there are a lot of people probably out there where I don't know that also feels the same way, who wants to start something or who is already starting something, and then feel like because they don't have like the audience or the platform that um they are not maybe doing the right thing for it. That's just what I feel. I feel like I shouldn't bring you here. Maybe I should have waited more like till I have bigger audience before doing this. So yeah, I want you to talk and speak to that.
Great.
I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
It's perfect timing because I've just moved to Los Angeles to Santa Monica. I've just joined a business networking group. For 30 years, my business has been referral only. So my reputation a client would have a transformation, and then people would say, "What happened?" And they're like, "Oh, you should go talk to Hans." And that was my business: referrals, referrals, referrals. And I've always just been in relationship with a lot of people, and it's worked for 30 years. So I figured, why change? And my son, about 3 years ago, coming out of college, is like, "Why don't you market yourself, Dad? Why don't you tell the world that you exist? You're the best kept secret in Santa Cruz." He used to call me.
Yeah.
And so the beginning that I'm doing of joining this business networking group and showing up at these meetings and meeting new people, visiting other parts of this business networking group, it's like I'm back at the beginning where there's a part of me that doesn't want to. I'm tired. It's too far. All the excuses come up, right? But I know that if I don't go, I won't meet people. And if I do go, I will meet people. And so I'm new to this town. So meeting new people is important for the success of my business. That said, the challenge of starting something new, it's a lot like getting a big tractor tire that's stuck in the mud rolling. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to do something new. And in fact, it takes more effort to do something new than once it gets going. So all of these years later, I know that, so I can move through the difficulty of getting to the meeting and being on time and making sure I get to bed on time and that I wake up very early because these meetings start at 7 o'clock in the morning and I have to drive there. And so it's a pretty early morning. So I would say the biggest thing is to get started, to do the simple things, to simply get started. And then I always like to recommend the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You can find a free version of that online. And it is the Bible for success. It will tell you exactly what you need to do. It's not easy, but it is very simple. And if you'll just be willing to make mistakes and willing to fail along the way, nothing can stop you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I remember you sent me the book Think and Grow Rich, and I read the book and it talked about, I can't really remember the actual thing it talked about, but I think it is along the side of like think, like whatever it is that you feel or you think is going to like come to reality.
And that's positive and negative, right? So if you
Okay,
think
yeah, positive thoughts, right? Yeah,
And
positive thoughts.
think positively, great. And if you think negative, and so your audience, you know what you're talking about, people having trouble getting started, it's because of that inner voice that says, "Oh, don't do it, and you're probably going to fail." And that, remember that last time it didn't work out, you know, it's, can you actually think positively and take actions on those positive thoughts, have positive feelings, turn on some music, do something that makes you feel good, and then take the action. Can you go look at the sky or the sun and come back in and take the action right away? Can you be inspired by nature and let that be the thing that moves you forward, as opposed to, oh, well, it's not very sunny outside, so I'm not going to do anything today. But that book says that the secret to success is hidden on every page, because he said if he told you what it was, you wouldn't believe him. So he hid it on every page. I didn't tell you this when I gave you that book, but I had to read that book 10 times before I discovered the secret.
Wow. Would you love to share the secret?
Yeah, but I can't, right? Because what you got out of it and what I got out of it is the secret of each of us.
Wow,
right?
I just wanted it on a platter of gold. So you said something.
I can tell you what I got out of it, because what you got out of it was something different. What I got out of it,
I would love to. I would love to hear. I would
and
love to hear.
really, in having this conversation with you, I think the secret is whatever you get out of the book that has you become successful. But for me, the secret that I got was that my attitude is everything. That for me to maintain a positive attitude, for me to not dip down into negativity for very long at all, that's going to have me become successful over time. And sure enough, people know me as a joyful being because I have worked to stay at the top of my emotional intelligence rather than dipping down into the negativity, cynicism, resignation, because it's so easy to get negative.
Mm, I love that. But my question, when you were sharing that, is about like the positive thoughts. In reality, is that really enough to keep us going? Because, for instance, in my own situation, um, there were times when at the beginning of the project, because this is not my first time of starting a YouTube channel or a podcast or just blogs. I start and I go in very, very positive, like highest, with the highest energy. And then, you know, it keeps reducing without results. I'm putting in all efforts, but there is no results. So that kind of like is discouraging. So in such kind of like situations, it is very hard to be positive because there is no light, like one is not seeing anything, to keep encouraging. So what would you advise in that kind of situation?
And
Because
so,
trying to think positive in that situation might be that not we are just like forcing or faking the reality. For instance, I uploaded a video and I have just 0 views. And my mind is like, oh, this is bad, da da da. And then I'm like, no, I can do it, I can do it. So isn't that suppressing the truth of what is there? Kind of.
interesting. Truth is an interesting word, and what is there is an interesting concept. So in the 90s in America, positive affirmations were a very big thing. I am healthy and wealthy and wise. I am very successful. I buy my house this year, right? And what those positive thoughts, those positive speaking, what it didn't do was it didn't change the past. It didn't change what my mind believed about the past and my relationship to money or time or love or whatever it was. And so I will agree with you that speaking positively is really important because we're listening when we talk. So I was just sitting with someone the other day and every third sentence, there was something negative. And I thought to myself, they have no idea how much negativity there is in this 1 hour. If I recorded it and played it back to them, they would be shocked that they were that negative, because they would say, oh, I'm mostly a positive person. But every 3 things that they said, there had to be a 4th one that was negative. So currently, I'm 63 years old and the adventure of my life continues. And I'm at peace and I am happy and I don't want or need anything. And the whole rest of my life is an adventure that I don't know what it's going to be. And I'm super excited about discovering. And I've had to do a lot of work on my past in the last 2 years. Things broke down pretty severely, and I had to turn and face some lifelong insecurity, anxiety, fear. And it took reading 15 new books and talking to 5 different mental health professionals and being in 5 different meetings a week and doing hundreds of hours of what's called step work in different programs to finally come to a place of my mind is right, my heart is right, I'm connected with whatever this is. And like I said, I am at peace and happy. So I do manage my thoughts. I do manage my feelings. And it's not just all positivity. It's when the negative feeling comes, I can decide, okay, how long do I want to feel this negative feeling for? Or when the negative thought comes, I was just on a meeting the other day and they said 20 seconds. If you let a negative thought go to 20 seconds, it's going to spin out for minutes and then hours. And so I interrupt those negative thoughts within 3 to 5 seconds. Now that's me. I've practiced a lot to do that. So anybody can practice interrupting negative thoughts. That's not true. I don't believe that. I'm going to go get a glass of water. I'm going to take a break. Hey, can you talk with me because I'm having negative thoughts? But anybody can interrupt negative thoughts. And the challenge is that if we dwell in the negative, there is a cold comfort to that. Because if we're negative, we're not going to be disappointed. Everything's junk. He's an idiot. Oh, I would never do that. Well, you're right. Everything is junk and he is an idiot in your view. And you never would do that. And so you get to be right. Now, when I'm doing things in my business, I have to be willing to make a mistake, right? If I step outside of my comfort zone, I have to be willing to go down a dead end and realize, oh, there's nothing here. I have to turn around and go back. If I'm negative, everything, I get to be right about it, but I don't get to be satisfied. I don't get to be happy. I don't get to be fulfilled. So I take the risk of making a mistake, the risk of doing it wrong, the risk of upsetting people. I upset 2 people last week. I didn't mean to, but I upset them. They were literally upset with Hans. And it was a misinterpretation, and I was able to calm the situation down and apologize to them. But that's the risk that I take if I go out and meet strangers and share myself, is I might upset somebody, right? And I'm willing to do that. I know that that's a possibility. So that was a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, the question that I just want to ask in everything you shared is, it sounded as though like you are a very positive person. And I'm kind of like curious how, during the breakdown, I don't know what happened during that time. And I wouldn't want to like go into the details, but the point I'm just trying to make is, for a positive person, you said the breakdown took 5 um, coaches, or you said 5
5 different people, yeah, mental health.
Yes, and 15 books, right? So you'll be able to pull you out of that negativity.
Yes.
Yeah. So the question that I just like want to ask from that situation is, how would you, what do you think, like, why would you say that why would, I'm thinking that, like, as a positive person, right, I should be able to like stamp out of it quickly, but it took you to like that much effort to be able to like rise above it. So what would you say, um how would you say your positive thinking helped in that situation, or just contributed to it?
Very good. And so it really didn't, because I got depressed and I didn't realize I was depressed. And depression is a very real thing, and it spirals downward. And by the time my family realized what was going on and intervened with me, I was in a deep, dark place. And so I created some wreckage. I hurt some people that I love very much. And I thought I was okay. I was not okay. And it took me all of these past 2 years to get my mind right again, get my heart right again. And so the depression part was real. And so I would ask people to consider, if you're feeling depression, it only gets worse. Like, go get help. I didn't get help nearly soon enough, and lost some friends in the process because I didn't. because they felt like
You didn't get help because you don't want to, or because you did not know
I didn't
that you
know, but
were depressed.
I also thought, well, I'm just not feeling that great, but I'm okay because I had really high self-awareness. But I didn't realize that no, I was not okay, and I was depressed, and I needed to get help. So when I finally got the help, it was very difficult. It was very uncomfortable because I was so far down.
So
But
it is possible to be depressed and not know that one is depressed.
yes, and
Wow.
to think, well, I'll get back to being positive tomorrow, or
Mm,
next week. And so my optimism disappeared, and I had to get very serious about doing some deep work on some very old places of fear and anxiety and insecurity and addictive tendencies. I was acting out, I was numbing out, I was disassociating, and I had to get to the bottom of all of that so that I could heal that once and for all. And today, I'm at peace and happy in a way that I've never been in my entire life. So it took that
mm,
depression. It took the bottom of that depression to get to the heights of life that I find myself in now.
mm.
So
So would you say that?
there's no positive thinking your way out of depression. Okay, that's bottom line.
Yeah. I wanted to say that because like a lot of the stuff on internet, it talks about like affirmation, think positive, just like the book you said. So I feel in my own like thinking, I feel like thinking positive is kind of like suppressing what is there. You know, it is okay to allow the thoughts to just be there, but to be with it and know that that is just temporary and it's just going to disappear, rather than trying to like put in layer on other thoughts. That's just like dragging or cleaning, the negative thoughts somewhere, which accumulates over time. Hmm.
So
You also said, yeah, yeah.
I was going to say
So
that the
you also,
danger. Sorry. We're stepping on each other.
no, sorry. You go, please.
So the danger of allowing negativity is that it starts to permeate and sort of take over. And so for me, when I have a negative thought, my thought that I ask the negative thought is that true? And the optimistic me can tell whether a negative thought is true or not. So if the negative thought is you're an idiot or you're a jerk, it's like, well, I made a mistake and I need to apologize or clean it up. That doesn't make me a jerk. So I am not a jerk. It's not actually true. So I think asking the question, is that true? Now, you could be negative enough about yourself to say, no, I really am a jerk. And my question to you is, well, were you born a jerk? No. When did jerk happen? Well, it happened here and here and here and here. So are you truly a jerk, or you just feel like a jerk, or life seems to be reflecting back to you that you're a jerk? Because I don't believe that people are born bad. I don't believe that they're born negative. I don't believe they're born jerks. So the jerk is just a thing that happened. I tell young people when I meet them and they're having a hard time, I tell them this is a bad situation, but this is not the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be who you are, right?
Mm, mm, mm. I love that. So in times like in these hard times for people, what would you advise that people do? Because it is going to like take a lot of awareness to be able to like question the thoughts like you do. So what other alternatives are there?
An interesting thing happened. I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning when I started working on myself, and I just couldn't get any more sleep. No matter what time I went to bed, I would wake up at 4. And so after about a week of that, just laying there from 4 until 7 when I needed to get up, I thought, my gym opens at 4 o'clock. I should just go down there and do everything at the gym. And so I ended up having 10 things that I would do for 3 hours at the gym. So I would
10
show up
things.
10 things. I would do
Okay. Okay.
exercise. After the exercise, yoga stretches. Then I would do what are called Kegel exercises. Then I would do breathing exercises, then meditation, then cold plunge, then hot tub, then sauna, and then massage chair, and then protein shake. And I did that every day for 2 years. And that saved my life, because as much discomfort as I was in during my day, I was really solid in my foundation. I felt really good in my body, right? Like I was really connected to my body and my breath and my heart. And so I call that super self-care. So there's 3 different levels. And the first level is just simply food, water, sleep, stress reduction, and exercise. Just focus on those 5 things each day. How many can I check off? And once you can get to a place where you check off all 5 of those, that's called a 100% day. That feels pretty great. Then see if you can do 200% days in a week, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you have a 100% week, then add 5 more items. Now those 5 core items are, keep those, but the 5 other items might be play a musical instrument or watch a movie or do some meditation or whatever you'd like for those other 5 items, but not work related. None of this well-being is about work. So now you've got 10 items and you try to have a 100% day at some point, and then 2 and then 3. So when you're able to have 100% days with 10 items, then do what I call super self-care, which is imagine that you 5 years from now were taking care of 10 things on a daily basis that made you feel amazing. What are those 10 things? And then start taking care of those 10 things now, because that will speed it up so that you won't have to wait 5 years to become that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So basic self-care, and super self-care. That's what I recommend with people, that people do, because if I'm going to encounter the world and I feel good about myself, I'm grounded, I'm solid, I'm confident, I'm motivated, it makes the world that we're in, which is pretty chaotic, it makes this world much easier to deal with.
So what kept you going for that 2 years consistently? Was it like support? Was there support that you had?
My life was at stake. My marriage was at stake. My relationship with my son was at stake. My business was at stake. Everything was up for grabs. And what I was told was, if you go on this very rocky path, there were promises in each one of the programs that I was in. If you stay on the path, in 2 years, you'll have your mind back in a completely new way. You'll have your marriage in a completely new way. And you will, all of these promises will be happening in your life. And I was like, okay. And so I just applied myself for 2 years, and I'm very proud of myself that I did that, because just like being in a car accident and going to do the physical therapy, which is painful or uncomfortable, to get well again, I just did that for the last 2 years to get well finally. My life is kind of the early part of my life was kind of a car accident, and I never really did therapy, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual therapy to get well.
So the situation was your drive to go all in consistently for 2 years without support.
And no, I had support, right? So, but what I got told early on was that this is all you. Nobody can do this for you. You have to do these steps. You have to take these actions. You have to show up. And if you do, you get these results. But if you don't, you'll go right back to all of the behavior and the problems that you had.
Thank God you fought it. You're a warrior.
It was what was next. It's so amazing, Sharifat, because today, the person that I am today, I have a feeling that I've been always meant to be this person at this point in my life. I have a sense of nature today that I've never had before. And I'm moved to tears in this moment. I had the thought the other day, I think that my job is to prepare my container every day, heart, body, mind, and spirit, and then be in conversations and relationships with a very simple intention. And my simple intention is to share the light and the love of this universe. And so my job is to be in conversations and relationships and share the light and love of this universe in as many ways as I can. So I do that in business, I do that in personal, I do that with family. And that, I think, is just do that, and then life happens naturally. I don't know that's true, but that's the thought that I had, and that's the experience that I'm having, is that I might be able to be that natural, and then life occurring becomes the adventure. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I discover next month.
I think I'm knowing now. So, like, how do you put these 5 things together on a daily basis? Is it the same as like going to the gym and doing those 10 things? Or is there anything or something special that you do to incorporate these 5 things on a daily basis?
So I did basic self-care pretty normally for 30 years ago. That wasn't a big deal.
What's self-care? Like, what do
Self-care
you
is
mean by self-care?
taking care of myself, preparing myself,
Okay.
right? So I did that many years ago. It wasn't a big deal because I became vegan. I became vegan when I was 17. So health has always been sort of important to me, right?
Mhm.
And then I started practicing the 10-item list where I was doing 10 items a day. I did that for almost 30 years. And then just over the last 2 years, do the super self-care. And so the problem is that we're good at suffering. We're good at letting our self-care go, at not taking care of ourselves, at overworking or procrastinating. We're really good at all the negative stuff. We're not good at feeling amazing. We're not good at being joyful. We're not good at making sure that we're integrated to begin our day. We're not good at that. And so the gift of my depression, the gift of these last 2 years is I now have this super self-care program as my lifestyle. I'll do this for the rest of my life. And the cold plunge, have you done a cold plunge before?
No.
The cold plunge is very interesting because it is very uncomfortable, but it is also completely invigorating. So you're in the cold plunge for 3 minutes, and it's anywhere between 52 and 32 degrees. I'm not sure are you on Celsius?
I didn't even know all of this. That like out of all the 10 self-care that you listed, I think the only one I know is just like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Just going to the gym. I don't know the one you listed
Yeah.
that I don't know all of those things. It's not available yet. I don't think so.
Yeah, so do some research and find out about these things, because each one of them is just one more step along the way to feeling great and having a solid foundation. So without self-care, if I encounter a problem during my day, I might react to it psychologically, or I might react to it emotionally, or I might get tired and want to go drink some coffee or do an energy drink, right? But if I'm solid, if I'm really solid in my self-care, that when the challenge comes, it's like, no problem, I got this, and I move through the challenge, right? So most people aren't coming to their day with a full gas tank. They're half empty or 2/3 empty, and they're driving too fast or too hard, or they're idling by the side of the road. And so for me, it's just consistent performance, consistently showing up, consistently bringing my best self to my day.
Is there one, like, if you have to recommend one out of like this self-care, what would that be? Just the one.
Move your body, exercise.
Is that what? What did you say? I didn't.
Move your body, exercise.
So that's the one thing, right? You would recommend out of 10.
I have to do two, because once you're done moving your body, make sure you stretch your body, and you're doing yoga or stretching exercises. So exercise your body.
So there's difference between moving the body and stretching the body.
It can be, right? For me, it is. So I do the bicycle for 1 hour a day. The next day I'm lifting weights, and then the third day I take off. But I'm doing the yoga stretches, 15 yoga stretches each one of those days, because I want to stretch my body as well as exercise my body.
I love that. Move your body and stretch your body. Those are the two tips. So self-care. So okay, there is this one thing that I want to ask, which is, you are 63 now.
Yes.
If you are to give an advice to me about life in general, what advice would you give? Considering all of your experience.
I would say do the work, whatever it takes, do the work to find your real, true, and beautiful self, because it's in each one of us.
Do the work.
In each one of us.
Do the work to find yourself.
Your real, true, and beautiful self. Because my ego self, my identity self, they pretend like they're who I really am, but they're not who I really am. I am not my ego. I am not my identity. So
what importance does that have to an individual? Like for me now, let's take for instance, I don't know what self-care is. I don't know what's, I'm just living life. I'm just going to work, making money, and just
Yep.
coming back home.
Yep.
So, and just hearing what you said that, okay, find your true self. Right, fine. But what is like benefit? What is the benefits it would have for me if I go in that line of like knowing or wanting to know who my real true self is?
It drives the emotional state up. It drives your emotional state up, your emotional intelligence up. So you get to experience life in a new way. Love, connection, passion, enthusiasm, optimism, wisdom, intuition. You get to experience the connection with self, others, and this infinite world that we're living in a really pleasurable way. Now, life is painful. Being a human being is painful. Being with other human beings is painful. So it's not all great, but so much of it is. I have interactions with strangers all day long that are just little teeny interactions, but there's a connection, there's affinity, and there's goodness, and my joyful smile, can create theirs or vice versa, right? So my son called me last year and he said, "Dad, time is our most valuable asset." And he's 24, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And I would add our ability to be present in time, because so many of us are not present. Based on our past, we have thoughts about who we are and who we're not. So that gets in the way of us being in the present moment. Or we have anxiety about the future, and that gets in the way of being in the moment. Or we have fears, day-to-day fears about bills or marriage or children or what a job, whatever it is, and that gets in the way of being present in the moment. And so if we can be our real self, we can let go of a lot of the fear, anxiety, and insecurity that keep us from being present in the moment, and just enjoy the now. Very simple to say, very hard to do.
Yeah, especially for we young people that feels like success is money, success is cars, and just all the materials that we can access. So hearing this is like mind blowing, like wow. So for a start, for someone who just like who doesn't know what self-development is and wants to go about developing and finding that true self. So how would you direct them to do so?
So my one of my favorite people, I've been working with her for a couple of years. She looked me up online, and she had I'm gonna say her name. I'm gonna say her first name, not her last name. So her name is Priyanka. She's from India, and she just simply started a self-study course. She just looked online and started studying herself. Started studying, how can I be my best self? How can I manage my thoughts? How can I manage my emotions? How can I enjoy life? How can I get purposeful and be in my life? And then she looked me up, and we started a conversation a lot like yours and mine. And so just get interested in what's possible for you as a human being. That's what I would say, because from being interested, things will show up for you. I'm just off the phone with a coach. I've known her for 25 years, and I encouraged her to bring integrity to her life, bring well-being to her life, because what happens from there is you see things that you wouldn't see from procrastination, or I'm exhausted from overwork, or I'm scared all the time. You'll see something different from an integrated, solid foundation. And if you work on the foundation first and then explore, you'll find things that you wouldn't find otherwise. And then explore the things that you find to see what works for you. That Napoleon Hill book, I love that book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. That book might not be the one for you. It might be Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. But just there are so many resources out there that if you'll ground it in nature, if you'll ground it in what works, if you'll ground it in universal laws, and we're so arrogant, oh, that doesn't apply to me, and I don't need to do that. And my brain is fine. I can let my brain run the show. It's just not natural. What's natural is an integrated life that you're exploring and you're evolving. This planet likes evolution, so let's evolve. And you've got to actually be in decent shape in order to evolve, because evolution is challenging.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that. We should wrap it up because I think we've used more than 30 minutes. So,
Sounds. Can I make a suggestion?
please.
I had an idea that at the end of each one of these shows, that the person who's the guest elects the next guest. So that way you just have a never-ending stream of guests. So I would like to elect David Perry from purecoach.com to be your next guest. Okay. So I'll connect you to,
Wow.
and yeah, right.
Yeah, that's exciting. I wasn't expecting that.
And I would do it in the moment with them. I would ask David at the end of his podcast, hey, who do you want to elect as my next guest? Because he'll give you somebody, and then you get to let go and have this occur naturally. Because this wants to happen. This conversation wants to happen. This has been delightful. I've had an enjoyable time, and I see your audience growing from 10 people to 100 people to 1,000 people to 10,000 people and on. I see that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited for that. I wasn't expecting it. So yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, we'll talk again. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Everybody, thank you for listening. This is just the beginning. I don't know if I did it right, but yeah, we're going to talk again in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Look for me at ontoco.com, ontoco.com. I'm Hans Phillips from Ontoco.
Yeah, I'm going to link that in the video.
Awesome. All right. Bye all.
Okay, bye.